This is the 2021 Toyota Corolla Hatchback. You might be focusing on the word Corolla or even on the Toyota badge, but I want to draw your attention to the hatchback part because that is what makes this little thing pretty special. If you're in the market for a small hatchback, is the Corolla the one to get? Let's find out. Before we go any further, I should explain that the Toyota Corolla is the juggernaut of the automotive industry. What am I talking about? 45 million. Toyota has sold more than 45 million Corollas since the 1960s. But we're here to talk about this car, the Corolla Hatchback. Now, it competes with cars like the Honda Civic Hatchback, the Mazda 3, and the Hyundai Elantra Hatch. All three of those are good cars, so what Toyota wants to do is compete against them with a combination of looks, price, and of course their well-founded reputation for reliability. But let's start with the looks. To be the best-selling car in the history of the world, you have to appeal to a lot of people, which is a really polite way of saying you gotta be bland. They do sell a lot of cars. However, Toyota, they're painfully aware of their stodgy reputation, so they're trying to change things up. And with the Corolla Hatchback, they're trying to make the car more exciting with this extreme design. We've seen this grille on other Toyotas, like the Avalon, only the Avalon is 2, maybe 3 times as big as the Corolla Hatchback. So the way it works here, it's like a miniature schnauzer, right? It's a lot of head, but this tiny little body. And the rest of the car, it's pretty good. You know, to me, it reads like a JDM hatchback, JDM, Japanese domestic market. Again, overall, I can't take my eyes off the grille, and maybe that's the point. Inside the Corolla Hatchback, the design ethos is the opposite of the outside, meaning it's rather restrained and kind of upscale. I want to call out in particular the bright work, and that's metal trim, although in this case I think it's plastic trim that looks like metal. But check out this cool bar. It goes all the way across the dash, and it actually makes the cabin feel bigger than it is, and then it really smartly wraps around the air vent. And that, you know, if that was in a 6-figure car, it wouldn't look out of place. So killer design, Toyota. You know, this car costs what it costs, and so you're gonna have a couple pieces of the car that don't feel so good. Like the plastic covering the A-pillar is particularly bad. The most important part of this Corolla Hatchback is the manual transmission. Woo! That's cool. Getting rarer, but it's still here. And as we're gonna talk about when we get to the performance section, this is the most important part of this car. The entire interior is focused around this central 8-inch touchscreen. And you know, it is what it is. It's a Toyota touchscreen. It works the way it works. It does come standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The seats are pretty nice. It's a nice mix of cloth and leather. Behind the driver, it's a small car. There's not a ton of room for full-size adults in the back. However, if you fold the seats down, it's a hatchback, so there's plenty of cargo space. On paper, the Corolla Hatchback doesn't have much going for it performance-wise. Under the hood, there's a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder engine, no turbochargers, no hybrid, nothing like that. Makes 168 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive only, and a lot of the competitors are using turbochargers. And yet, the first time I drove this thing, I was blown away. I remember like thinking to myself and saying out loud to the other people there, like, this is a Corolla? Why would Toyota make a Corolla handle this well? How did they do it? But it does drive incredibly well. It's just fun to throw around. It's like a hot hatch, if you will, although maybe the power is down a little bit. As we said, this one does have a manual transmission, so of course it's the one to get. Also, of course, it's the one you won't get. You'll probably buy the CVT, but don't do that. Buy the manual. I should mention, gas mileage, the CVT gets slightly better miles per gallon than the manual, but just, you know, come on, be different, get the manual. Trust me, get the manual. The Toyota Corolla Hatchback is a safe car. It has a 5-star crash rating, and the Insurance Institute has given it a top safety pick. It also comes standard with Toyota's Safety Sense 2.0. That means there's a lot of standard safety features such as automatic emergency braking. Toyota wants to compete on price, and guess what? The Corolla Hatchback is cheaper than the competition. This thing starts at $21,500 for the manual, Add $1,000 for the CVT, and if you want the XSE trim like I'm standing next to, that's another $3,000 on top. The Honda Civic hatchback with the CVT starts at $23,000. Add another $500 if you want to climb into a Mazda 3. So looking at nothing but price, the Corolla hatchback is a pretty good value. If there's one thing I want you to walk away knowing about the Toyota Corolla hatchback, it's this. This is the best Corolla you can buy. Yes, it's a hatchback, yes, it's a manual, but trust me, this is the best one. And think about it. The price is right, you get the versatility and functionality of a hatchback, the car is shockingly good to drive, and you might even like the looks. So, if you're in the market for a small, sporty hatchback, I urge you to consider the Corolla hatchback. To check out the latest rankings, go to motortrend.com/cars.